Hey everybody! I'm here today to talk to you about 5 things that I don't like about my Honda Odyssey touring van. That's right, these are the 5 things that I probably like the least and I don't like about my Honda Odyssey touring van. I have a 2022 Honda Odyssey touring van and I love the van beyond belief. I would choose to drive this over my CRV. I would choose to drive this over, even many of the lower end sports cars that I've considered purchasing over the years. I love this van, but there are a couple things that that are good in some aspects, but they're my least favorite things. It's not to say that I hate these things. I understand a lot of them are just part of regular van driving, but these are my least favorite things. Let's get into this. Number 1 is the low stance. Now, the low stance is good because it looks cool, but I'm not used to it because my CRV has a little bit of a higher stance. So I'll show you what I mean. So as I step out of the van right now, you can see when I talk about the low stance, I'm talking about the front of the van over here. You can see it's quite low, okay? And I feel like driving the van, I thought it would be a little bit higher. I thought that I would sort of be able to, I thought it would just be a little bit more clearance off the ground. It looks nice, right? But there's not that much clearance off of the ground. And I'll show you what I did. When one day I was driving, long story short, I ended up just brushing up against the curb because I thought that this would go over the curb. The curb was actually a little, I got out and I looked, the curb was a little bit higher than typical, right? But I still thought that I would be over the curb, and I ended up just literally brushing up against the curb a little bit over here, as you can see. And yeah, unfortunately, that's just, and obviously it's my fault. I take full onus of it. I was reversing and I was steering, and the front end I thought would clear over the curb, but essentially the front end scraped up against the curb. And yeah, I did some damage there. I have to go get that fixed. And obviously, it's like I said, that's 100% my fault. I'm not like saying it's the curb's fault, but I just kind of assumed that I had higher clearance. So the low stance is something that looks cool, but I would rather have a higher stanced van that, it doesn't look as cool, but like I get more clearance. And it's not only because of that, even before that, like I said, that scrape was 100% my fault. I'm not trying to put the onus on anything, but yeah, I was reversing and I was steering and the front end was swinging out and I thought that I would clear the curb, but I scraped against the curb. I just barely scraped against it, just a touch, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So yeah, anyways, the low stance is cool in some aspects, but I would rather not have it in other aspects. Number 2, the rest of these will be relatively shorter. Number 2, not so big of a trunk. Now, here's the thing. All vans have a relatively small trunk in terms of how deep they go. They're tall, but they don't go that deep. I'm going to open the trunk. Give me a second and I'll show you what I mean. So if you take a look over here. Sorry, my neighbor's doing some yard work. If you take a look over here, you can see it's very tall. And it's pretty deep, but like I said, I'm used to the CRV in which the trunk is much deeper in this aspect. So, it's not that, it's still pretty deep. I mean, now that I look at it, to be honest with you, it's pretty deep, but we have strollers. We have 4 young kids, my wife and I. So, we have strollers and car seats and all sorts of bags that we travel with. So it's pretty deep, but, I would rather have a vehicle that's a little bit longer that has a deeper trunk. I'd rather drive a longer vehicle that has a deeper trunk, but most vans are going to have trunks that are similar in that sense. So this is not a feature that is like unique to the Odyssey. Most vans have trunks that are similar size, so it's pretty big now that I look at it on camera. But I guess just because we have so much stuff, I'm like, I wish I could have an extra foot or something like that. Anyways, number 3, the sunroof size, just pretty much a regular sunroof. So having a sunroof is cool, but I understand, now that I see this, I understand why. The rear entertainment system's over here, so yeah, you can't get a bigger sunroof. But anyways, I just kind of thought it would be cooler for the rear passengers to have some sunroof as well. Even like a secondary sunroof back there would be cool, But yeah, the sunroof size, it's a regular sunroof, but I just thought it'd be cool for the rear passengers to be able to, look out, for my kids to be able to look out the sunroof as well. Anyways, feature number 4 that I'm not the biggest fan of is front wheel drive. And I know most vans are front wheel drive. Now, I live in Canada. We get some decently harsh winters. I have like the best snow tires on the vehicle, and we put it in snow mode. And my wife and I are both very, very safe drivers. But, having all-wheel drive is invaluable if you live somewhere where it snows. So having, I wish they could have offered all-wheel drive. I would have paid a premium to get all-wheel drive, but it wasn't offered, okay? And the last but not least, number 5 is lots of torque. Now, here's the thing. Lots of torque is great. I love the power of this thing. But having front wheel drive with lots of torque ends up being, you chirp the tires a lot just by barely accelerating. right? So I end up driving it in economy mode because it sort of lessens the power a little bit. It feels like it makes it makes me less likely to make the tires go right. And even if because I'm used to the CRV, which is all-wheel drive, in which you can push the gas pedal down. The CRV has less power and it's all-wheel drive, so I push the gas pedal down a certain amount and it accelerates and it doesn't ever squeal the tires. But this has a lot more power and torque, but also front-wheel drive. So if I push the pedal down the same amount as I do in the CRV, the tires end up squeaking just a little bit. So yeah, those are 5 things that I kind of dislike about the Honda Odyssey touring van, my van. Like I said, I love the van. These are just minor little details that I would, maybe if I could change some of them, I would. But yeah, like I said, and some of these are like not unique to this van. They're like all vans. So I'm not like chirping on this van as being a bad van. It's phenomenal. I love it in so many ways, but I just figured I'd make this video just to sort of tell you about some of the things that I'm not such a fan of. And that's it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more good videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.